Responding to an approach to market. In this video, we'll step through some tips to help you put your best foot forward when developing a competitive tender response. Firstly, participating in tender processes can involve costs for your business. It takes time and effort to develop a competitive response that meets the specified requirements, so make sure that the approach to market is the right opportunity for your business. Next, ensure you understand the expected timeframes and processes for lodging your tender response. This will be clearly outlined in the approach to market documentation. Late tenders cannot be accepted, so start developing your response early and prepare to submit your response well in advance of the specified tender closing time and date. Remember, each approach to market is different. Take the time to thoroughly review the request documents and understand all of the requirements, including conditions for participation, any minimum content and format requirements, and the need to comply with or provide evidence of compliance with Australian laws and standards or international standards. You should pay close attention to any procurement-connected policies and insurance requirements specified, and make sure you consider the evaluation criteria and methodology when developing your response. If offered, be sure to attend industry briefings. These provide an opportunity to clarify processes and requirements. You can also direct any questions about the request documents or the process to the nominated contact officer. Before you develop your tender response, you should make sure you prepare all documents needed to meet conditions for participation and minimum requirements. These will be clearly outlined in the approach to market documents. Remember, if you do not meet these requirements, your tender response will not be evaluated. Then, determine how you will develop your tender response against the evaluation criteria. Meeting evaluation criteria is critical to competitively responding to a tender and demonstrates your ability to deliver the proposed work. Buyers assess each supplier's tender response against these requirements. Remember, buyers must assess your submission based on the information contained in your tender response. You should aim to keep your tender response concise and on topic. Structure your tender response in the same order as the information in the approach to market documents so that it's easy to follow, and use headings and lists to make your content clear. Criteria will vary for each ATM, but some commonly used criteria may ask you to demonstrate an ability to provide the requested goods or services, ability to manage risk, pricing, and compliance with the contract conditions. Australian government organisations assess tender responses on a value for money basis. They don't just select the cheapest price. With this in mind, you should consider how you can emphasise your competitive difference, where you exceed the requirements, and where you feel you can add value for the Australian government or contribute more broadly to the Australian economy. If an ATM imposes a word limit on a response to an evaluation criterion, you should ensure that you do not exceed the word limit. Otherwise, any information past the word limit will likely not be considered. However, you should use as much of the word limit as possible to fully explain what you can do. Finally, make sure you submit your response in the format requested, with the required documentation and information before the specified closing time and date. If you have been invited to provide a response to a limited tender or submit a quote, and you do not have the capability or capacity to respond, you should advise the nominated contact officer that you do not intend to respond. This contact keeps your business visible for future approaches to market. For further information, please visit sellingtogov.finance.gov.au.